Hello beautiful souls and welcome back to my channel. This week we will be looking at this very particular pattern that I see showing up quite a lot. And you're not imagining this. This is a pattern where people meet you at the beginning but cannot sustain the connection. So the subject is, where do you keep attracting people who cannot fully meet you even when it feels right at first? So let's see what the cards have to say about that. So before we start, here is the Satori, I think it's the Satori dragon. It's a pink spritzer, as you can see. Look at the color, look at the sparkles. I love the sparkles, I'm such a child. So as usual, we're calling in this beautiful dragon spritzer. I sprayed my hands. I'm going to smell it deeply and then use it to fluff my aura, to feed my aura. Remember, your aura goes in and out and feeds off information. So we're calling in this beautiful dragon spritzer for strength and clarity. And also I'm going to say to nourish your inner child, because I think we can receive so much better when we're in this playful mood. Okay, so spirit guides. Okay, so spirit. Why do I keep meeting the wrong people even when it feels right at first? Why do I keep? So we have this one. We have the card of empathy. Interesting one. Empathy, compassion. It's kind of nearly the same thing for me, at least in this pack. So it feels like you're pulling in the right people because you empathize with them. And that confuses. Kushu ayese ku aAwaAh TaAwaAh iata ayati ayaya. You're confusing empathy with compassion, and you're confusing empathy with love, and you're confusing. So it feels like somebody or a collective that confuses love with empathy and compassion. And by that I mean, these are people who are either therapists or who are very benevolent towards other people. And so they have this ability to pick up on people's pains. I'm going to say stories, definitely pain. Your wounds, that's the word I was looking for. You are somebody who picks up on people's wounds and confuses the wounds with the love. So it's because you can see the wounds and that you understand the wounds and you confuse the wounds with the love. And it's actually the wounds that pick you up because you are supposed to be therapists. So if you're not therapist or some kind of a healer, this could be a really strong message for you. You know, stop confusing love with clients. So there's love and then there's clients, and you need to separate the two. And if you haven't set yourself up as a healer or a therapist of some sort. So, you know, it's a global term. So you find your niche within that energy. But these are people who have really abilities to help people and whose empathy is confusing love. That's the first thing. So what you're doing is you're falling in love with clients when they should just be clients. So this would be the very, very basic start with this. Uasa uesiki uasana ashu eyati unaka ietete. So this is asking you, this symbol, this light language symbol, but also this reading is asking you to claim the healer in you. And once again, it's a global energy. You can do it in so many different forms. And separate your ability to heal and the empathy and the deep compassion that you have with your ability to love someone. And so we're talking about romantic relationships also, but also looking about friendships. Where do you confuse love in relationships with professional love? What I would call, it's called detached compassion, detached empathy, where you support people professionally. So that's the big distinction here. Okay, let's see if we can get just a little bit more information. So why do I keep meeting the wrong people even when it feels right at first? Why do I keep meeting the wrong people? Okay. So interesting, this one comes through integrity, which is one of the pillars. the soul pillars that we have. So this points to where you're in lack of integrity with your energy. So this could be two things. A, that because you are not stepping into this role of therapist and healer, okay, let's just call it healer for simplicity. You are not using your energy with integrity and in alignment. And the universe keeps showing this to you, like, because these people, they feel right at first is like a soul recognition because you have a piece for them, but actually it's not a love recognition. It's not a love relationship. You're confusing love with clients. That would be the best thing. And then it also shows that you're out of integrity because you're not using your energy properly. So this symbol can really help you come back into integrity. Uasha ka titi asuku u iateka iane ueshititi ayene iashititi ayene. One of the things that's coming through is that it's much more fun to have a lover than to have a relationship with a love relationship with a client. You know, because what's coming through really clearly is in the relationships that you set up, there's no reciprocity. It's not possible because you are not setting up the reciprocity. You are only allowing it to be kind of one way. So you pull in people that you love, that you support because you have that big empathy piece, but they're not giving back to you. In a way, there's part of you that's feeding off the need to help and be supported, and that could be an ego trip too, which is, you know, so points to this lack of integrity. But if you have this soul call to help people, set it up so that you have clear boundaries and that you exchange with people, which means that if you give your time and your energy, you also get something back usually through money or some kind of a, so this is really for people who are either too scared of doing that or who don't value this ability, this skill that's coming through, and that needs to be activated in a big way now. And so what you're doing is instead of pulling in lovers, you're pulling in clients. So there's the confusion there. Okay, let's see if we can have just one more. So what else? Why do you keep meeting the wrong people, even when it feels right at first? We have the card of humor, which, as you know, is the card for March. I think I've mentioned it before. Okay, what should we get next? Should we just get these, or should we get something else? These, and that's it? Nothing more? Let's get a couple of tea leaves. So I have the apple. Temptation will test you, and you know, once you have the awareness, you will be tempted. You will pull in people who will tempt you and see, have you changed? Have you really changed or not? And do you want to change? You know, because it takes effort to change, but it's so worthwhile, and it starts with awareness. So if you're ready to do this, know that you will be tempted. You will pull in people who will be like, hey, take care of me, my wounds, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, well, no, actually, I don't want to do it. Or I'm going to do it on my terms. And I'm going to put in a really clear rapport with this person. So that's the first thing. You will be tested. The second one that came in is peace and harmony. And my whole point about this is a lot of people are addicted to drama because drama is exciting and intense. And our nervous system love drama in a way. It's exhausting though. Very taxing on your adrenals, just saying this. And when we move out of this space of intense addiction, I think that would be one way of saying it, then love feels very boring. And so peace and harmony can be very triggering for a lot of people because they're like, oh, I want the intensity, the huge emotions. But actually love it's actually very simple. It's the simple moments, the simple things, and it's pretty peaceful. And so it's about getting very comfortable with the peace and the harmony in relationships instead of the drama. Okay, let's just get one more. What? Why do you keep meeting the wrong people even when it feels right at first? Why do you keep meeting the wrong people. Come on, one more. Oh, we had a whole bunch. Okay. As I said, I take this as a confirmation of what I was saying. So instead of it being you confusing love and work, so step into the work. This is a soul call to step into the work of healing in some form or shape. You see, and again, it's reinforced. You will be playing a different role. Stop confusing love with work. They're two different things. It's not because you have the abilities that defines. In a way, I find people are groomed in that way to overgive in exchange for love. Where are you overgiving? Where are you giving in exchange for love? Where are you giving your talents in exchange for love? Stop it. Don't do that anymore. You know, have some integrity, energetic integrity. You're misusing the energy and the skills and the talents that you have. Please. And then the very last one, affairs within the family. So this, as I say, also confirms a little bit what I've been saying, which is, I think this is a learned pattern, and you've probably seen it mirrored to you, experienced it. Maybe that was a dynamic in your family that normalized it. It's not normal, and you get to change that, and you get to make new choices. I think a lot of this will come from you really stepping into the role of a healer. And once again, I repeat, healer doesn't have to be like energy healing. It can be psychotherapy. It can be physical therapy. It could be many, many things. The reason that you pull in these people has to do with what I would call a wound resonance. You understand it, you see it, it's kind of part of your energetic makeup. It doesn't need to be that way. It's not because you have the ability to understand and see the wound that you need to love in the wound. You can move way beyond it. And I think it's time to step up and claim that part of you that has this ability so that you can transmute your relationships and allow love to come through. Love that's not based on the neediness and the healing of wounds as such, but love as something that comes in and goes beyond everything else. You know, you're not allowing love to come through. What you're allowing is neediness and people depending on you and people not giving back also. That's the other thing. You're confusing, as I say, love with work. So this is about really introducing a new way to relate and support and reciprocity. And just to close off, this is kind of what's coming through in the TaA GeE aAwaAh bond course, because what we're doing is we're shifting the inner templates so that you stop attracting these dynamics and start experiencing aligned support. So there's very little for you to do. It happens through you. So it's a very empowering way of going through something and changing. And I'm going to say not effortless, but it's not hard. Like you get shifted from the inside out. So I'll put the link underneath. And I really want to close this reading and ask you the following question. Are you ready to experience a different kind of connection? So sending you lots of beautiful blessings this week. Namaste.